Hello chess enthusiasts, my name is Miha and welcome to my chessrealm YouTube channel. So another interesting game from the Grandmaster Triathlon in Biel. A rapid game between Yangyi and Arjun Erigaisi. I hope I have pronounced the names correctly. Let's see what happened. Yangyi had white pieces and he started with e4, c5, knight to f3, d6, d4, c captures on d4, knight recaptures, knight to f6, knight to c3 and g6, and we have dragon variation of Sicilian defense. White continues with g3, knight to f6, offering the trade of knights. White doesn't go for it, so knight from d goes to e2, bishop goes to g7, bishop to g2, and now h5, preparing to harass white on the king side. So h3 was played, preparing g4 if black pushes h pawn further. So black continues with bishop to d7, and now b3, preparing fianchetto of dark square bishop. Queen goes to a5, attacking knight on c3. So bishop to b2 defending, rook to c8. Putting more pressure on this knight on c3, who is pinned by the way. So maybe the best option would be queen to d2, further defending and unpinning the knight, but white saw the things otherwise and castles king side, thus allowing black to unleash an attack. h4 was played, attacking pawn on g3. White has to do something about it. If pawn on h4 is gone, then pawn on h3 is twice attacked. So g4 was played, and now we have a simple piece sack. Knight captures pawn on g4, preparing to demolish pawn structure around white king. Well, the best option for white would be to forget about this pawn and play maybe rook b1, protecting this bishop on b2, and preparing knight on d5 with some counterplay. But white has decided not to give up on the pawn, and this position captures knight on g4. And now naturally black plays h3, attacking bishop on g2. Well, white could try to remove it, let's say to f3 or h1. If bishop to h1, then h2 check. King g2 is the only option, then bishop would capture pawn on g4, preparing bishop h3 with deadly attack. Let's see. If king goes to g3, avoiding skewering the king, then we have mate in maximum 6 move. Rook to h3 check. If king captures bishop on g4, then queen h5, king f4, and e5 is checkmate. If king goes back to g2, then bishop to f3 check. King has to capture rook, as there isn't any other option. Queen h5, king g3, queen g4, king h2, queen h4, king g1, and queen h1 is checkmate. There are other variations, but in all of them white is lost. Okay, so in the game white had decided to return the bishop, so f3 was played. Now black has to act fast because g4 pawn is now protected. Queen to c5 was played, check. King h2, bishop to e5 check. If king goes back to h1, then we have mate in 2. H pawn captures on g2 check. King recaptures and rook to h2 checkmate. So in the game f4 was played. H pawn captures bishop check. King recaptures. Bishop captures pawn on g4. Well, white is in big trouble here. If white plays a random move, let's say a3, Then queen to e3 is a deadly move, threatening bishop to h3, mate in 2. If white tries to pry the threat with knight to g1, then still bishop to h3, check. Knight captures bishop, queen recaptures. If king to g1, then queen h2 is checkmate. So king has to go to f2 and then bishop to d4, check. Queen has to capture, and then white loses decisive material, but it's mate in 6 moves anyway, but I'll leave it for you to find it. If queen doesn't capture, then either king e2, queen e3, mate. If king e1, queen g3, rook f2 and queen f2, checkmate. Okay, so let's go back to our game. So in the game, white captures bishop on e5. Bishop to h3, check. Well, if king goes to h1, then bishop captures rook, it's mate in 1. If king h2, then again bishop f1, king g3, queen e3, king g4, and knight to e5 is checkmate. So in the game, king goes to g3 immediately, bishop captures rook on f1, queen recaptures, queen to e3 check. If king to g4, then knight e5, it's mate in 1. So king goes to g2, knight to e5, rook to d1. Well, here black had mate in maximum 8 moves, but it's difficult to find it, especially in a 3 minutes and 2 seconds increment blitz game. But I'll show it for you now. It starts with rook captures knight on c3, removing the defender of this e4 pawn. Bishop recaptures, queen to e4 check. Now king has a few options. After, let's say, king g3, then queen h4, king g2, queen h2, it's checkmate. So after king g1, rook h1, king f2, rook h2. If king g1, then queen h1 is checkmate. So king e1, knight to f3, and now queen can only capture knight, but then queen recaptures. King can run, of course, to d2, but after queen e2, king c1, queen c2, it's checkmate. Like I said, it was a blitz game. It's difficult to see such combinations even for a grandmasters. In the game, black continues with queen to h3 check. If king g1, queen h2 is checkmate. So king goes to f2 was played, and now queen to f3 check. It was the final blow. If king goes to g1, then rook h1 is checkmate. If king goes to e1, then again rook h1. White loses decisive material. And therefore, in this position, Yangyi resigned the game. So, I hope you like this game. I hope you have learned something from it. If you have any questions, my email is below in the description. Of course, I invite you to visit my Instagram page. That's it for now, and see you soon.